I'm not going very technical about this, but I think it's very important to know the basics of how to interact with any AI chatbot like ChatGPT. And finally, we will learn how to generate visuals with AI tools like DALL-E, Leonardo AI, Dreamlab from Canva AI. So these are AI tools that are that generates text to image. Very important for the visual, for illustration, for those stories. Okay. So I would like to explain why AI is a good thing. What are the benefits of knowing AI? And for us teachers, right? So one of the things that are really good for improving our classrooms is enhanced creativity and engagement. And sometimes what it happens to me is that I work in an Orthodox Jewish school where all my students are boys. And imagine trying to find maybe a story out there because we don't have an English book. Let's say I search on the internet about a worksheet of reading comprehension worksheet. And it's for me and for the other teachers is impossible. Why? Because there are so many things to edit. As you know, or maybe not, in the Jewish community, there are certain rules that they have to follow. For example, they cannot mix milk with meat. And if I have a reading comprehension about somebody going to McDonald's and eating a cheeseburger, that's a problem. Another thing, since it's a boys' school, they don't have interaction with girls. So if I have a story, if I found a story on the internet about Maria with Jose playing at the park, it's not possible. So this is where it comes personalization and differentiation. Maybe for most of the cases, because my case is a very special case, but for most of the cases, it's it's good to have personalization for to connect with your students. For example, you might encounter certain readings talking about something happening in China or in France. It would be a good reading. I'm not saying that is not going to be helpful for your students to know some cultural things related to other countries, other cultures. But what about a story that is based on Panamanian culture? A reading comprehension that is related to the Panama Canal or a historical event that happened here in Panama. So we can all do that with AI, right? Also, we expedite content generation. So meaning that we can get these stories, this material in less than 30 minutes. Yeah, in less than 30 minutes, you can have 3, 4, 5 stories that you can work on and edit and have an amazing experience with your students. And also we have a cognitive load optimization because here with AI tools like ChatGPT or Gemini, Copilot, we can work on different tasks at the same time. So the optimization of our work will be even easier, right? Okay, so now that we see all the benefits that AI can provide to our classroom, let's dive into the real thing. Okay. So these are usually the AI chatbots that I recommend to work on. So the first one is ChatGPT. I think everyone knows ChatGPT. For me, I consider it's the most powerful AI chatbot out there. And you need to learn how to use it. And when I mean how to use it, it's not just typing something without any framework, without any knowledge of how prompts work. And this is something that we're going to learn today, how to write prompts, what are the frameworks that works better for teaching English. So we will see that. Another, in case you don't like ChatGPT, or you might try out other AI tools, I recommend to use Gemini AI. This is the Google AI assistant. You can get it for free. It's free. The other one is Copilot AI by Microsoft. And I think for this one is you have to pay for it. But from what I remember, you can use your, if you have a institutional email, you can use that. You will have it for free, as well as all the Microsoft tools, right? Then we have DeepSeek AI. This one came out probably like 2 weeks ago, and it's really powerful, really powerful. I recommend you to try it out. But maybe what you can do is to create a new email for joining and logging to this AI tool, this website, because it's Chinese, and we all know what's going on with the Chinese government and Panama and the United States and so on. So I recommend you to just create a new email for that. But for today, we're going to work with ChatGPT by OpenAI. And you can work with Gemini, Copilot, it will work the same way. So no worries. But since ChatGPT is the one that I use the most, and I think is the one that everyone knows and have used probably at least once, we will work with this tool. Okay. This is something that is very interesting, because sometimes it happens that we tend to use ChatGPT or any chatbot, right? And there is always, at least from people that I've heard, they tell me, hey, Abdias, why I always ask ChatGPT for a specific thing, but it always give me different results. It doesn't give me what I want. What should I do? Well, it's because you need to learn some ChatGPT prompts from frameworks, right? The same way natural language processes work, you need to learn how machines think, how machines process information. And for this one, we have different frameworks, as you see, the things that can provide, depending on how you create your prompt, how you deliver your input, meaning what you send. But today we will work with the most common one, I would say, which is the framework RTF. R stands for role, T for task, and F for format. So we're gonna be working like this: assign a role, assign the task, and assign the format. What's the role? Well, act as an expert in language teaching, or English teaching, or act as an expert in TESOL. So among all the information that, ChatGPT has, it will focus solely on being a teacher, being an expert in this specific field, okay? Then we go to the task. And here is where you have to be as descriptive as possible to provide all the information you can, because remember, sometimes when we are writing, we take for granted that ChatGPT knows where I work, ChatGPT knows what my students struggle with, or ChatGPT knows even things that I still don't know. So what is important here is that you need to be very specific. So if you want to, for example, I want you to create a story about pirates in Panama, right? And this story should have 10 vocabulary words related to the ocean, for instance. And then you keep going. Maybe you might mention the cultural background of your students, the proficiency level of your students, because if you don't mention these kind of things, maybe ChatGPT will give you a story for a C1 or a B2. So all these details must be in task. Then we have the format. With the format, it's really important to, or what the format is all about, is the way that task or that information that you will be receiving, how that information will be presented. Will it be in a paragraph or 3, 4 lines? Will be 4 paragraphs? Will be divided into slides if you want to present the story in a PowerPoint format? If you just want the list of vocabulary words numbered as a list? So this is what it means format. It's how you want the information to be presented. And with role, task, and format, probably you will avoid some fights with ChatGPT, right? So remember, RTF, role, task, and format, right? So far, does anybody have a question regarding ChatGPT prompt frameworks before I continue? No? Okay, let me see the chat. Yeah, I'm reading. This is a whole new different world for us to explore. And yeah, even for me that I work with this every day, I always learn. I'm always learning. Like you have no idea how many things I learn every day. Oh, I see that if I ask in this specific way, it will give me the information that I usually request faster. So remember that these kind of tools are in constant updates. So it's really necessary for us to not only get informed, but to actually use it to learn. This is the best way. The best way to learn how to use AI is, it sounds probably silly just to mention it, but the only way to learn to master AI is to use it. If you use it, you will learn and you will be able to actually understand how, AI and all this artificial intelligence stuff maneuvers in your computer. Okay, so let's continue then. So I wanted to give you some examples of using the framework that I just mentioned, the RTF model. So here we have an example, role task format, prompting. Here I'm giving the role. Define AI's function. You're an ESL teacher. So I'm on, as I mentioned, I'm on all the things that ChatGPT knows, or amongst all the things that any AI chatbot knows. You're going to focus on a specific information on this chat, right? Then we go to the task. Specify the requirement, generate a short adventure story for A2 students, right? So here it's probably very basic, but as I mentioned, remember, you have to describe as much as you can. Even if you have 12 students, mention that you have 12 students. If you have some students that has some special needs, mention those things. If you have students that they are in 3rd grade, but the proficiency test, the proficiency level, sorry, is of a student that is from 1st grade, you can mention that. So every single thing regarding your classroom is important for ChatGPT to generate the best output possible, right? So here, the format. Choose output style. So the output, meaning what you receive from the chatbot, this is one of the examples. 5 short paragraphs with a glossary at the end. So see, here you have the story with 5 paragraphs, and at the end of the story, you will get a glossary, right? You can change it with only 2 paragraphs, or the format is a book format. Each page has 2 lines with an illustration. So you decide whether you want your format to be simple or complex. But if you want it complex, it means that you need a complex input, a complex prompt, right? A complex interaction with the chatbot. Okay. So here is some examples for different proficiency levels. So for AI, for A1, sorry, will be write a simple 3-scene story with basic objects and present simple tense. This doesn't have to be for kids. Maybe you have university level students that they are in the first semester, but they have A1 proficiency level. So maybe for the first class, you will come with a story that is only 3 slides, 3 scenes to evaluate what they know, what they don't know, etc. Then for B1, create a dialogue-based travel story using past tenses, right? And for C1, develop a short cultural narrative integrating idioms and figurative language. So that's something else, right? That sounds more for someone that is studying a bachelor degree in English, right? So as you see, you just modify, edit, try to be descriptive with your context, your classroom, your needs, not your needs as a teacher, the needs of your students, and you will get better results. So again, RTF, role, task, and format. With that, you can get whatever you want without less editing, without any fights or arguments. So so far, any question? No? Okay, I'll keep going. All clear, perfect. Okay, here briefly explaining what are some of the characteristics of an effective prompt versus an ineffective prompt. So for an effective prompt, of course, you need to write clear and specific information. You cannot be ambiguous or too complex. Sometimes less is more, only if it's clear and specific, okay? Then you have contextualized vocabulary, meaning that you need to use the right words for what you want to request, right? If you misspell a word, maybe there isn't, no, it's not a big deal. But if you say a different word, let's say instead of planning, you say something else that is not planning. So not saying the word planning or any synonym of planning will give you another thing that probably you're not requesting. And structured frameworks. Here, if you follow the RTF, you won't have any problem. Probably the editing, the new requests for different information will be less and less. Okay, so as you see here, this is bad prompts versus good prompts. Bad prompts explain how to correct mistakes in class. Yeah, like what kind of mistakes? In which class? what level, what age. So it will give you a generic answer as you see here displayed. You're an English teacher at a language academy for roles in Spain. It's not being helpful, as you see, right? So you see here, you can correct mistakes in different ways. Sometimes you can tell students when they are wrong, and sometimes you can let them figure it out. Probably nothing that we already know, right? So it's really important that in order to have a good response, a good output, you must ensure that you provide a good input. Yes, as Mr. Felipe mentioned, details are very important. If you're not detailed, you won't get what you want. And even in real life. And here, as you see, a good prompt or a good output by using a good prompt, right? As an English teacher in Spain working with intermediate adults, I would first identify the most common past simple mistake for my students make, such as incorrect verb conjugation. So here, I'm mentioning the kind of mistakes my students have, right? He go to the store yesterday instead of he went to the store yesterday, like that. And then it's giving you some of the tips that you can use. Of course, you can consult this on the internet, see if this information is accurate, because remember that not everything that the AI gives you is 100% true. There is something in chatbots called AI hallucination. And what is an AI hallucination? As it says, it makes you think something that it doesn't exist or is not true. So you have to be careful with that. Always checking information. Okay, so now that we already explored all the AI chatbots that we can use for creating a story, let's see the AI tools for creating images. Because I don't know, but for me, I'm a very visual learner. So if I see a novel with tons and tons of information, paragraph, just letters, words everywhere, I will read it if I like it. But if it's something that I have to do because it's for work or I'm studying and I have to do it no matter what, I would prefer a book. I would prefer a story that has illustration, like comics, or there are some others books that at least for a chapter they have like 3, 4 illustrations. So for me to visualize, maybe I don't have a good imagination, and there are many people that don't have, so they need to have a reference of what's going on written on the book, right? So for that, we have 3 tools. There are 2 tools that are that you have to pay a subscription, which is DALL-E, which is integrated in ChatGPT. Then you have Canva. If you have a premium account, there is one section of Canva called Dream Lab, where you can do the same thing that DALL-E does, which is creating text to image results, right? And then this one that I really like it, and it's free. The thing is that you have certain tokens to be used in 24 hours. I think that's the time. Is Leonardo AI. So with Leonardo AI, you just need a Gmail account. Then you can create images similar to DALL-E, similar to Canva, but you have, I think, 40 tries per day, like 24 hours. What is a good solution? Because how many stories would you do, would you create in a week? Maybe 1, maybe 2. So I think 40 tries is perfect. It's okay. So when creating images, using these tools, it is important to take in consideration certain aspects. The art direction. So what's the art style or what the art direction for your visuals? Watercolor, sci-fi. If you want the I don't know, the image to look more cartoonish, more realistic, or even like make it similar to a specific art style like Disney, Pixar. You can do all of that. Okay. Of course, the composition. So single character, group setting, if it is a panoramic scene, the color and mood, if it is warm, dramatic, futuristic, all of that, right? So remember, you have to be as descriptive as possible. If you don't if you don't provide enough information, it will give you any art direction, it will give you any scene. Maybe you wanted a character in that scene, but since you didn't mention that you needed the character, the main character in this specific thing, in this specific illustration, remember, AI don't read minds. So you have to provide everything you want, everything you visualize. And in case you don't have the imagination to create these things, you can ask for assistance um, from ChatGPT or DALL-E. Well, from DALL-E and ChatGPT, they can give you ideas of how to request these illustrations. But if you're using Canva or Leonardo, you can first go to ChatGPT or Gemini or Copilot and ask for a prompt of what you want for these illustrations, right? The prompt of like all the description details that you want for on a specific image, right? So pretty quick here, I will give you what I just mentioned, but with evidence. So if I just ask, draw a teacher, it will give you something like this, very, very basic, maybe um, um, not much detail, not many details, not much information you can take from this picture. Very basic. However, if you use a good prompt, for the prompts, maybe you can still use the RTF. Maybe you can skip the role, because probably you already, since you already assigned the role from the very beginning, you know, creating the story and all of that. Here, maybe you can just um, skip the role and go direct to, you know, the specifics of the visual that you request. Okay. So as you see, this image is more detailed. Here it mentions that it's a group of diverse students. So they're not all from the same race, and then you're applying some diversity in your class, right? Um, let's see some image correction in case of you work in a specific setting. Let's say you're in a religious school, like Catholic, Muslim, Jewish, or some cultural backgrounds. Like let's say you have students that are from the countryside. Maybe you once, probably, they will connect more to a story that is related to his daily life in the countryside, things that they do over there, the scenes that he used to see, and that's how we probably connect with our students and catch their attention better. Okay, so this is me every day trying to create an image for my classes. But this is just a brief example of things that you can do, at least with DALL-E and the ones that is free as well, Leonardo AI. So if you see, the first interaction that I had was generate an image of a classroom with students and a teacher. Okay, So here, probably, before all of this, I already explained to ChatGPT or DALL-E in this case that the context is Orthodox Jewish school or Orthodox Jewish setting, right? And it gave me this. It looks good enough until I see some issues with the girls. With the girls, they need to be covered all over her body. And I cannot show this image to any of my students, right? So what I do is to edit, right? There, if you, for DALL-E, you have an option to just work on the spaces or a specific part of the picture that you want to edit and explain what you want to edit. For Dreamlab from Canva or Leonardo AI, the free one, what you have to do is to re-explain why you don't want this picture and what are the things that can be changed and what are the things that it has to focus on. Okay, so here you say male students wear kippas and modest clothing, female students wear modest skirts, blouse, and appropriate Jewish head coverings such as tichels or shaitels. So yeah, here for being because of me being in an Orthodox Jewish school, I know these specific words that I need to use. But for you, probably you don't need much like too much explanation for this. But as you see, once I finish with the corrections, this is what I got. It's better. You see the skirts are better. They'll cover. So everything good to show for my students, right? As well, like if you have any story that is about, I don't know, pirate, but then the pirate is showing probably certain values like stealing that you might not incorporate in the class because they're too young to understand what stealing is. You can adapt it and correct for what you want. But of course, you always have to give as many details you can. Okay. So here I will show you how you would proceed with generating the story from scratch, right? So let's start. So this is the ChatGPT work environment. And here I started with my RTF, my prompt framework. I didn't mention to focus on a specific thing because, well, for ChatGPT, it has something called memory. So it remembers that the person, the user is an EFL or ESL teacher. It works with TESOL, material, standard. So it knows everything, at least related to my context, right? So what I did here was to go straight to the point with the task and format. So if you see here, create a short and engaging introduction for a children's adventure story about a young boy named and so on, right? This is until here is the task, right? Then the format, the way I want this story, this information to be presented is like this. The introduction should be 3-4 sentences, setting up his discovery of a nation, so on. It gave me this. If I like it, I take it. If I don't, then I keep requesting what I really want. Then I kept going, right? So probably I'm working this as a book format or Canva presentation or PowerPoint format, right? And I will keep going with the story, editing what I need to be edited, etc. Then that I have, now I have the story complete, right? And I have to start working on the visuals, the illustrations, right? And this is where I go with what I mentioned with text to image AI tools. You have to like use the same prompt framework, but focusing on art, the art concepts that you need for your visuals, right? So here you have a vibrant story, book style illustration of a young man named Leo wearing an explorer hat and a backpack. If you want your character to wear a specific type of clothes, you have to mention it. If he's holding something on his hands, you have to mention it. If you want something in the distance for your visual, you have to mention it. So everything that you see here was like that was mentioned here, 90% is here, right? So this is only for the cover illustration, the cover book. Then I will illustrate scene 1, right? The call to adventure. So here, again, explaining how the main character should look like, the type of colors and mood that I want for my illustration. Maybe I want a specific feeling to be captured in this visual. You can mention all of that, but what happened? The previous one was more cartoonish, and this one is a little bit more realistic. And I want to be more consistent with the illustration format, right? So I requested to make him look more cartoonish like the previous images, meaning the cover illustration. So it recreated the same idea, but with a cartoonish art direction. Okay. Then I kept going with the second scene. For me, any scene is considered like a page. So one scene, one page. One scene, one slide. So this is how you can work on it. If you use Canva, if you use PowerPoint, it works with both, right? Probably Canva is easier to use and has more tools and features that may enhance your storytelling activity. Okay, so as you see, I tried to explain everything, and most of the things that I explained or that I requested to appear in my illustration is here. Then I requested 6 vocabulary words from the story. If you just want any vocabulary word, it's okay. It will give you random words. If you want a specific glossary, because probably you have to follow a specific program, then you can mention the specific vocabulary words that you need, that needs to appear in the story. Then I requested an illustration for each of the vocabulary words. So it gave me treasure, it gave me map, location, etc., right? And if I wanted an extra activity for comprehension, then I requested provide a reading comprehension activity for this story. So as you see, it was just a common multiple choice questions. If you want something else, go ahead. It depends of what you want. It depends of what you want to achieve using these stories. And this is how it will look if I put everything that I got from, well, I think it's too loud, but yeah. So this is the final product. So what I did was to copy and paste the image that I got from ChatGPT or Leonardo or Dreamlab, and I pasted on the slide. Then I put some fonts, some graphics. I attach an image to the background. And in Canva, I think you can do that in PowerPoint as well. You can upload a background music. So how long did this take? Probably 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It's really fast. And this is how it would look like for your students to read. If you want specific vocabulary words to be colored differently, like adjective, red colors, verbs, yellow color, nouns, green colors, you can do that. So it's up to you what you want to accomplish with these readings. But as you see, this is something that like very generic story that came out. And you can do a story about anything. So anything. And believe me when I say anything is about anything you wish. Also, you can provide the vocabulary words like this, right? With a picture, the font, the word, right? And before we go to the, because I don't have much time, let me show you how it would look like for my specific context. As I mentioned, I work in an Orthodox Jewish school, so I have to find my own material in order to provide information like this, visuals like this. So this is with AI. Everything is with AI. AI and Canva just to copy and paste the picture and the story, right? So this one is with a book format. Then I have this one, which is like an Indiana Jones Jewish boy. So as you see, certain things that I need for my visuals is that the boys are always wearing a kippah, this specific hat that they use for religious purposes, right? Right? Uh, I actually had a horror story because I teach fifth and sixth grade and they like this kind of stuff. So as you see, you can get creative with this and you will take good results with good, I would say, quality in few minutes. So yeah, okay. Does anybody has a question, comment, anything? Yes, I think we cannot waste time using these tools. As I said, probably the way we use it is for chatbots. It's like, help me out with this activity or help me out with lesson planning. And as you see, that's just like the 3% of the of the things that you can do with AI. Now you know another one, which is storytelling activities and creating the stories that you want for your specific context. Is there is no more comments or anything else? Well, thank you so much. Here, this is my Instagram account, my professional Instagram account. There you might find more information about AI. Here you can use a QR code. You will find a specific document that I created for you to has like a